back in the day, the old £50 notes. Someone had a big batch, there was a little firm printing them out. It was just identical, pretty much in the rave scene, taking E's and stuff, and that's what ends up happening. You get caught out by taking this stuff yourself, and then you think, well, I fund it, and then before you know it, you're selling drugs. I'd already started doing the cocaine and stuff, and then I started manufacturing. When I think of that, I know I had a pill machine. I started working with a big yardie gang, then I was doing a grow, and then I was sometimes doing like credit cards, and I used to just have my hands in a lot of pie. If I didn't earn 10 grand in the week, I'd be upset. 23-hour bang up in Chelmsford prison, and I start reading the Bible. I've ended up calling the vicar to the cell and give my life, and I've done the prayer of salvation, and I've changed my life now. I've turned it around.
What's going on, guys? This video is sponsored by Fireaway Pizza. Trust me, I told you I was going to bring you a wicked sponsor. Fireaway Pizza. Use code BlueTick for 20% off your order. Listen, you must have a crazy story. I want to hear it, but firstly, let's throw it all the way back to your upbringing, your childhood. Who are you?
Yeah, so I'm one of 4 children. Yeah, I'm a middle child. They say middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
Apparently I had a bit of that, right?
I got it too, don't worry.
Yeah, it's quite a common thing, right? But fairly normal upbringing, really, to make me go into the things that I've done. I'm not the typical broken family or had this or that happen to them, and because of that they've done all this bad stuff. It's pretty normal upbringing. Grew up in Leytonstone and East London.
Nothing out of the ordinary, no trouble?
There was always trouble. Yeah, I mean, you see East London, there's always trouble.
East London, definitely.
And quite a lot of fighting and stuff from a young age, but I was kind of not an outwardly aggressive person, but I kind of, because I was quite easygoing nature, I think sometimes people would think, yeah, take liberties, and then obviously then I'd end up getting.
Did you ever shy away from fighting?
Not that I really remember, but I'm sure there was occasions where I thought, well, hang on, it's a bit on top here. Get out of here. I weren't one of these, some of these guys you get on your show, no doubt, that would never turn away ever.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I was that person. There were certain situations. I had someone pull out a kitchen knife on me once, you know what I mean? And so there's certain situations you think, well, live to fight another day, sort of thing,
Well, you do the math there and then and think, this
exactly.
realistically, this ain't going to work out. Exactly. And was that just your circle, your friendship circle, or was it just the life of Leytonstone? As we all know, it's a little bit rough down there.
Yeah, a bit of both, really. We had as part of a group where we was like 15, the LSP, the Leytonstone posse, we called ourselves. And we all had our little Randers bats with a LSP on it.
Serious?
Oh yeah, it was a bit nuts, really. But a lot of my friends, they kind of, when we was about 15, they love football. I never really liked football.
Yeah.
Loved a bit of boxing and that, but I never was really into me football. And so a lot of my friends started going, the football violence and stuff, and I kind of
football hooligans. That's it.
Football hooligans, and I kind of see it as really there's no money in it. What's the point? Do you know what I mean? I didn't really like football anyway, and a lot of them started getting in with the Stanley knives and stuff. It was quite big, and all that. And I was never a knife person anyway, and so me and one of my mates sort of came away from that.
And at what age was this?
Around about 15. Yeah. I mean, they was doing some heavy duty stuff at 15.
Serious?
Yeah. Some heavy stuff.
But obviously, you've come away from that. You didn't go down that route. What did you do when you turned 15?
Just a lot of the normal stuff, really. You know what I mean? There was a little group of us that hung about, and pretty normal sort of life, really. Now and again a little bit of trouble and stuff, but not really. You know what I mean? Fairly staying out of trouble. It weren't to sort of a little bit later on, I think probably about 17, that I was kind of determined that I'm gonna earn my money. I'm gonna get it, because I don't think I can get it normally like everybody else does and go and work for a living.
Did you have a job?
I've done bits and pieces, really. I used to sort of help my dad out at that stage. All different sorts of jobs. I was always in and out of different bits of work, really.
What made you think you couldn't earn a legit living?
You know what? I've asked myself this question before, and this is a big question, but I was convinced that I wasn't. I've obviously got spoken that, because which I'll talk about a bit more after, about word curses and stuff. And
Yeah.
when if someone's in authority, it ain't necessarily got to be a parent. It could be a teacher or someone like that, which I'm sure I had a lot of teachers say stuff like that about me because I was really, really naughty in school. There was a little thing that happened when I was 13, and that kind of did. I wouldn't want to go too much into it.
Go on, tell us a little bit about
it. But my parents sort of split up at the time, and I was kind of, because you're naughty and stuff. It's Dan, Dan, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? And so something like that. That sort of started me off. Right down the.
Did you stay with your mum?
I stayed with my dad, and then my mum come back anyway. It wasn't a long thing, thank God. And so it was only like for however many, I don't even know, 6 months or something like that. It seemed like a lot longer.
Of course.
And then they came back, and everything was good, and then never a problem from then onwards. So there was kind of a bit of a break there. You know what I mean?
The thing is, as well, at such a young age, no one realises. But when you're 13 years old and your mum and dad split up or separate for a few months, it can drive a young kid insane.
Yeah.
Seeing their mum not there or their dad not there. It was a lovely family, all nice, everything's good, and now one of your parents ain't there. It can make you go down the route of being naughty. And I don't know if that's what happened in your situation. Maybe it enhanced it a little bit, but that's not where you really got involved in crime.
No, I think from that point, when I was like probably 13, round about that time, I got expelled from school. My attitude and everything was pretty grim at that point, you know what I mean, and with school, so they in the end they expelled me, and so that kind of wasn't a help. But like you say, it wasn't the, at 15 still, I was still not terrible, just fighting and little bits and pieces, but not doing too bad stuff, you know what I mean. I did once when I was younger. There was a co-op, and it was like a milk float yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I was younger, that someone had already broken into it, and there was like a hole in the barbed wire fence, and so I said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to go over there." And so I used to climb over there. And sometimes my friends would say, "Oh, should we have an egg fight?" Like, they go, "Oh, I've got no eggs." I go, "No worries, be back in a minute." And I'd get up on the garages, climb up onto the wall, through the fence. Get a load of eggs and tins of cakes and biscuits and all different stuff like that. And
just take it out.
Yeah, so it's only like a couple of little
petty
minor
crime.
Things. Nothing really. Nothing really, you know what I mean?
But obviously when you turned 17, things changed?
Yeah, things changed. There was a little crew at Leytonstone that was older than me, and they was all black boys, you know what I mean? And they said, and I said, like, they was doing some snatches and different stuff, like wage snatches and stuff. So I said, like, can I get involved with you? Like, this is naive. I was so naive. Even
How old were they?
They was probably 20, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm like 17, you know what I mean? But I had a car. Well, no, I tell you, I was just turned 18. I had a car, so they was probably 20, 21. And they'd already done a few, and they're like, yeah, no worries, but like, we use your car as a getaway. When I look back, I think, like, you div, like, you know what I mean? But I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, we'll park it up out of the way, and left them in my car. And they said, right, you go in the bankies or in the post building site or whatever it was, and you go in and just have a look to see whether, anyone's drawing out a huge amount of cash, and just point them out to us. So I wouldn't necessarily have had to
get your hands dirty.
Yeah. So, but still, my car, I'm going in there with cameras and stuff like that, really. And so that kind of, I went in, I couldn't really see no one way. In the end, thankfully, nothing really happened at that point. There was another kid in Leytonstone, that was probably when I was 17, and he said, yeah, I've got this imitation firearm and blah, 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 and he was sort of showing off probably a bit about it, you know. And I said, like, do you want to go and do something with it? You know what I mean? We're going to do, like, an armed robbery, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, we're going to do it, like, you know. And so I've gone to his house, and I'm waiting outside his house for him to go and get the gun and that. And then he said, he come out and said, I've got to do something with my family, like. And really, I don't blame him. It was stupid. I was stupid, you know what I mean? I had all these ideas, and for a silly amount of money, you think it's going to fix everything, and it don't, of course.
Definitely not.
And so that didn't happen. So it was a lot of near misses.
So that didn't happen, that one?
Didn't happen. He just didn't give me another day. He was just, I've got to do something with family. He didn't want to know, which I don't blame him. And it was kind of things like this kept nearly happening. We went to do, me and my two mates, Joey and Yoss, I was really close friends with them. We was going to go and do something, and we was going to go and do a building. Well, me and Joey was going to go and do this building society, and he was out of Stratford. He's dead now, you know. So and he said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've got this building site, it'd be just perfect. But it's in his area and all, you know. So it's
As I say, don't shit on your own doorstep.
it's so mindless. When I look back on it, some of the silly things that you think you can do, like, and we was outside, got our balaclavas rolled up as a hat and that, and was ready to go in, and he's gone, no, he said, old Bill just drive past. I said, I didn't say old Bill. No, plain clothes, like, you know what I mean? I said, really? He said, Kev, they know me round here, because he was a nightmare, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, I said, well, wait to see if they go around the one-way system, and we're hanging about, and again, in the end, he's like, oh no. I said, let's just go in to do it, you know what I mean? I'm all geared up to do it, and he didn't want to do it in the end. And then after that, him and Yoss started doing stuff. They'd done a couple of things. I got asked to do something that really went against the grain for me, you know what I mean? Which is to go into someone's house. I say to people, armed robbery, you know, but realistically, it was aggravated burglary. That's the actual charge, really, because I was so embarrassed about what I'd done, like, you know. And so it was all meant to be happening, and I said, look, I don't want nothing to do. You two go off and do it. This ain't my cup of tea, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I left them like 2 or 3 months, and then they come back to me and I said, how's it going, like, you know, did you do that job? No, we need a third man. I'm like, oh no. So
How much was it for?
Well, he reckons there was 100 grand there, you know, and he was like, you know, this will change our lives, like 30
100 grand back then, though. Big money.
It was, but you know what? The thing is with the devil, right? What he gives you with one hand, he'll snatch back off you with the other hand.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's such a false economy. It seems really good at the time, and when you get money like that easy, it's just like you'll get
Easy
it
come, easy go.
and just spend it, and then before you know it, I ain't got no money again, and then you're back doing the same stuff. So it's one of them things, really. You know what I mean? But anyway, again, you know, like we was terrible criminals, really, like the three of us, and we went to do this job. In the end, it turned out there weren't this big lot of money that there was meant to be, and we fled empty-handed. Right? We get stopped on the way back, just a stop check thing, and they found all the different stuff. They knew we was at it, but they couldn't prove nothing. But the next day, you know, the guy reported it, and obviously we ended up getting caught, and we got 4 years in prison each, like first proper offence, really, apart from a couple of little bits when I was younger. And that was it. Yeah, served just under 2 years.
So truthfully, no disrespect, you're terrible to criminals.
Terrible. We should have quit. I should have quit from the beginning. Terrible, you know. But unfortunately, with these things, you start off terrible,
and it gets worse and worse.
Sometimes you persist with keep doing it, and then in the end, you start getting good at stuff because you think you don't want to get caught, you know. And so went in there. Before I went away, I had a really good job as well. I worked for Dynarod, drain cleaning, and you know, people would say, "Oh, it's horrible." It actually was a really good job, like, you know. And so I come out of prison. I thought, right, I'm going straight now. I'm not doing all this stuff. And
how old was you when you went inside?
I was 23.
Young.
Yeah, by this point, young. Yeah.
Mum and Dad, how did they take it?
Devastated, you know what I mean? Devastated, you know. And I think at the time they already had a bit of ag with me because I was like, we'd already hit the rave scene and stuff like that. I was like, from 20 years old, I went to my first rave in Backchurch Lane up off Commercial Road. Never even knew what it was, but a few of my mates out of Bethnal Green and that. And it was like, wow, this is amazing, you know what I mean? And then before I knew it, I was on the E's, and do you know what I mean? And a little bit of coke, and this is what kind of started swaying me and as well to do more sillier things as well, like, you know. Yeah. And so unfortunately the bit going straight didn't last very long. I started I was always puffing. Even when I was in prison, I was always puffing, and you know, I came out, carried on smoking weed and stuff, and then I thought, you know what, let me just buy a little bit just to pay for my habit. Yeah, so that'd be all right, you know, just a little bit.
Let me just sell a little bit just here.
Just a little bit, right? And so that happened. Started doing really well at it, earned a nice few quid at it.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I thought, actually, I'm earning money at this. You know, let's just buy some more and let's do some more. And then before I knew it, someone come along, and back in the day, the old £50 notes, someone had a big batch. There was a little firm printing them out, and I knew a relative of one of them, you know. And they had these £50 notes that was just identical. It was really good.
That good.
You know what I mean?
See, the thing is, you can't do them no more. That game's done.
No, you can't. It's
game's done.
Yeah, well, most of the game's done. This is the thing. Everywhere's cameras, and you know what I mean. And they get you on the phones, and so I started doing the 50s and that, and I was earning really good money out of everything. And I thought I was puffing, and I thought I don't really want to work because I'm, you know, we was the lazy gang, you know what I mean? You don't want to work anyway. And so I'd give up this really good job and to go full-time crime, like, you know, and that's how it kind of started coming about, like, you know what I mean?
And when you obviously went full-time crime, what changed in your life? Because you went from puffing, doing your job, to now you have to make money from this.
Well, again, I was in the rave scene then as well. You know, I was pretty much in the rave scene, taking ease and stuff, and that's what ends up happening. You get caught out by taking this stuff yourself,
Yeah.
and then you think, well, I fund it, and then before you know it, you're selling drugs. And I think that's quite a lot of people's story, really.
And is that that what your job become? You're a drug dealer?
Yeah. Okay. So I went into it pretty major. I was. First of all, there's a club called the Epping Forest Country Club.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I run all the drugs in there. There was other firms that go in there, and some of them would, you know, you go into a club and they'd tell the bouncers on you, or they'd want to have a row with you and all that stuff, you know, because you're on their turf. I've never done none of that. I let everybody get on with what they're doing, and I had like 5 guys working for me, and they all had guys working for them. So we kind of had...
You had a decent little firm then?
Yeah, it was a really good firm, yeah. And we was running quite a lot of the stuff. And the bouncers knew what we was doing, and they used to just didn't want, you know, a lot of them want money from you and all that. They left us alone and let's get on with it. And so we was doing all that for quite a while, or, you know, and then a couple of people started getting nicked. Like one guy get nicked on the way there that was one of my crew, like, you know what I mean? And things started coming on top, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to come out of the club, you know, and then just go wholesale rather than retail, you know.
Did you not have any problems with competition?
No, not really.
No?
No, not really.
Fair enough.
No, I mean, yeah, you know, I got on with a lot of people, and, you know, I knew quite a lot of people as well, and a lot of the bigger boys in there as well, I kind of knew and was friendly with a lot of people anyway. So
usually it always goes off, 2 big firms in there, both doing the same thing, who can do it kind of thing.
No, I didn't get none of that. That's really didn't, yeah. And I think probably when we left was probably the right time, because there was some stuff that I believe went on later on, but I was already gone by that point, you know what I mean? When we first come about, it was just me doing it, and it was like, no one really. You couldn't even...
So you're cleaning up.
Yeah, I'd get in there and there'd be like 30 people waiting for me. Like, there's no one in here doing nothing. Have you got anything on you? And I'd have this big bag, like, you know, and it kind of went like that. So, yeah, I come out, I think, the right time, and then I started going more...
Wholesale.
Yeah, wholesale, and dealing just with bigger bits. I already had a lot of people built up by that stage. And then I started working with a big yardie crew out of West London, and I was doing... I'd already started doing the cocaine and stuff. I was selling pills and stuff, and and then I started manufacturing as well. I know, nuts, isn't it? But I think of that, I know I had a pill machine, you know, clonk, clonk, clonk like this, and every clonk was another pill, you know what I mean? And
how many pills were you producing?
I haven't got a clue. Like, don't know, tens of thousands of them.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you was at a big scale of it?
Oh, yeah. Just depending on who wanted what, really, you know what I mean? And so at that time, they stopped making one of the main ingredients for ecstasy, so no one could get hold of it. And so I started doing ketamine, like the ketamine pills, like human ketamine.
Yeah.
And because you just couldn't get hold of the actual proper gear. And then I was also doing speed pills as well. I was manufacturing them. And then, like I said, I started working with a big yardie gang as well, and then I was doing a grow, and then I was sometimes doing like credit cards, and you know, I used to just have my hands in a lot of pies. And
so you was deep in the crime game at this point?
I was deep into it then, you know, I was doing all
So you went from
sorts of
being
stuff.
one of the laziest crews to an active crew?
Very active, yeah, in the end, from not having a clue what I was doing really, to then becoming professional at what I was doing, you know what I mean, and doing everything. You know, when I look at how a lot of the people work, and it just weren't me. Even them phones that come about, you know.
Encros.
What are they called?
Encros.
Yeah, and then everyone was on the phones and all that, and loads of people got nicks and big players and that, you know. And
big boys.
taking pictures of things, and I think I'd never would have done that. But I suppose in the end people get complacent, and this is what the police do. They'll allow you to become complacent and think that
Did you have any close calls with the police?
I had close calls, no, tell a lie. I mean, yeah, I got pulled over by the police and things like that. I was coming out the country club with my ex-girlfriend one night, and she didn't feel that great, and she said, "Oh, can we just go home?" Like, I said, "Yeah, no worries." So we left early, and as we come out, normally I'd always keep. I had about that night about 50 pills or so. It was quite earlier on before I was had all the lot working for me, and I would normally put them down my nuts, like, you know what I mean, like hide them away. But for some reason, I come out and put them straight in the glove box, like proper schoolboy error, you know what I mean. And so as we're driving across the little mini roundabouts outside the country club, there's a police car there, and I've went straight across the mini roundabout, and they've pulled me over and all that, and they've like, right, you know. Sometimes you want to show their authority and shout and stuff like that, and you know, he was doing that sort of stuff, and so I said to him, I got when I think about how I got away with it, I got out and I said, "Good evening, officer. What seems to be the trouble?" I said to him, I looked really aggressive when I was young. I know my head, I used to have my hair like a number 1 or a half or something like that. So my nose is not as bad now, but it was really badly broken, and I've had a few operations on it. It's still pretty grim, but it was a lot worse, and so I looked like a thug, really. And so, oh, you done this, you coming across the roundabout and all that. I said, look, I'm ever so sorry. I said, I'm ever so sorry. Yeah, I said, you know, I'm just. He said, what are you doing? You've been drinking? I said, no, I would never drink and drive. I was drunk. I was out of it on pills. My eyes was probably Harry. You know what I mean? But back then, they never used to hit you with the drugs. It weren't really a law for it as such back then. You know what I mean? So he said, you know, he said, all right, they said, what are you doing? I said, my girlfriend don't feel well, so was taking her home, like, you know. So he said, all right, well, off you go, just drive safely, you know. And I had so many different little things like that being pulled over. Even when I first come out of prison, and I had my little brother in the motor as well, Tom, and I had 4 kilos of weed in the boot as well, and I got stopped by the old bill, and they sent me. I think, they're definitely going to search, because back then they would just, that was standard. Oh,
really? They'd search for just fun?
Yeah, if they're pulling you over and you look a bit dodgy or whatever, they're searching. I did look dodgy, you know. And he said to me, he was nothing to do with it, by the way, my brother. It was just, I had it in the car, like, you know. And so he said, have you ever been arrested before? And I said to him, yeah, I have. Have you ever been to prison before? I went, oh, here we go. I said, yeah, I have, you know, but I've changed my life now. You know, I've turned it around. And I'm trying to do better. And he went, oh, okay, all right, no worries. Give me a little talking to, and then let me go. Didn't even search the car. I've had all different things like this. But all the time, see, when I look back at it, because I was talking about this with someone a few weeks ago, I had so many of these different things like this where I nearly got nicked. One of them I'll tell you about in a second when it, you know, and it made me realise God, because like I said, I'm a pastor now, God was on it, and he was protecting me from that, because ultimately, it's not just about sending you to prison and punishing you, it's about your soul, where your soul's going to spend forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I honestly believe that I could have got nicked so many times. I had my house raided once. I got stopped by the police, and I had a little quarter part of the window smashed out where someone done me car trying to nick stuff out of it or whatever. And so they pulled me up and said, your window's done, blah, blah. I said, yes, someone broke into it or whatever. And they said, right, let's search you. And I had this leather jacket on it. It had so many different zips on it, right? And little pockets and stuff, you know what I mean? And they've certainly went, what's this in the pocket? I went, I don't know. And they've opened this pocket and they've took out a counterfeit £20 note, right, which was a rubbish one. So I just used it as a bit of paper, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think 2 or 3 pills in there. But back then, if you had, like, I think 5 pills, you was getting like 4 years for it and stuff like that. Wow. It was like big sentences people was getting because they was trying to crack down on it. And he went, what's that? I went, oh, I didn't even know it was there, sort of thing. And I think that was rubbish pills anyway. But so they ended up arresting me for that. And then they took me back to the station. Then they
raided your house for 3 pills?
They took me back. They took me because I've been in prison and stuff, I suppose, you know what I mean? And they took me to my house, and it was my mum and dad's house. They lived in a house. By then, my dad done pretty well, and he moved to Wanstead and was living in a house there. And they went in, and they've got this room. I think, oh, please don't let my mum be in. Let no one, please, look, God, don't let no one be in. Like, and no one was in, thank God.
Did you have anything in the house?
And yeah, I had a digital little diamond scales, and I had, what do I have? I had some coke. I think some more pills, maybe.
And they found it all?
Well, I thought definitely they're going to find it. I had a little wardrobe, single wardrobe, and at the top of the wardrobe I had all the stuff, and then I just had it at the back. That's the place you're going to go for, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Standard.
Yeah, the standard, right? So they've gone into it, and they've looked in the wardrobe, and they've missed it. Again, it had to be God. It had to be God, because I'd have been back in prison, and maybe I would never have got saved and doing what I'm doing now, like, you know. And so yeah, we had little bits like that, but never went back to prison. Honestly, listen to this. Let me tell you this one, right?
How in the world did you do that?
I don't even know. I was most of the time fairly careful, but realistically, when I think of some of the think back, I think, what was you thinking of doing that? You know what I mean? But listen to this one time. We used to every 3 or 4 months, I'd rent a new house, a little 3-bed house or something like that, and I'd do all my stuff there because it was manufacturing and keep it for everything. Sometimes I'd be doing grows and all sorts there, you know, and so we'd do that. So we've got this house up in Leighton, right?
Baitest place ever.
Yeah, and I was with. I think I'm okay to say because you know you get scared of saying people's that, but he ain't doing nothing anyway, and it could be a million different Dells, but it's my mate Dell, right? And so anyway, he said to me, "Kev, did you hear that?" I said, "No." He said, "Someone's upstairs." I said, "Shut up, no one's upstairs." He went, "I'm telling you, someone's upstairs, right?" So I said, "Yeah." So we're like getting our bats and all that,
tooled up, ready to go
all proper
upstairs.
tooled up to go upstairs. And as we go, I said, "There's no one here." Like we went in all the rooms, there's no one there. There's no one there. And he went, "Did you hear it that time?" I went, "I did."
Oh, did you hear it?
I heard it that time. He said, "Someone's in the loft." And I'm like, "What?" Right? So anyway, we're going up, and it's like, who the hell? And then we open up the loft hatch. There's 2 fellas in the loft, right? Where they're kind of on the roof. Right? Honestly, I had mad things happen like this sometimes.
What, they were trying to break into the house?
No, it turns out they was roofers, and they was changing next door's roof, but they had to take off part of our roof to get, you know, to tie it in or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing in my house?" And he went, "Well, we've had permission from the landlord." I said, "Mate, not being funny, but I don't care about what the permission you get from the landlord. I'm living here and renting it, so you need to get permission. Don't just do that without knocking." Do you know what I mean? But I'm trying to keep it a little, because normally I'd be really upset, you know, but I'm trying to not be upset because I've got like I buy like quite a lot of cocaine, and I'd keep a couple of key or whatever and press it up. So I've got a big press up in the loft with a jack and all that, and maybe they wouldn't know what it was, and I've got like tens of thousands of pills and speed pills and coke bits pressed up and all sorts of stuff up there, you know what I mean? And
So I'm trying to not bring heat to the house kind of thing.
Yeah, and this guy, you know, it's upstairs out the way in the loft, and they're up in the loft, like, and I'm like, all right, no worries. Anyway, so we're waiting by the loft hatch, and we're just he said, "We're going to have to wait till they go and wait till it goes quiet up there, and we're going to have to jump back up and get everything," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so sooner or later they went for breakfast or lunch or whatever time of day it was, and then we went up, got all our stuff, and we got away with it again. You know, but we've had certain things like that happen. So when I didn't tell you this, when I was in prison, my co-D Yossi said to me, "Kev," he said, "Yeah, I'm getting back to following Jesus and that." And I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I'm getting back to following Jesus." And he said, when I was 18, I was on the streets preaching the gospel and that. He said, and then different birds come along, and I got sidetracked by the birds and get led away from the gospel. He said, and that was it. I stopped going to church. I went, "Oh, you never told me none of that." He said, yeah. He said, "Well, 23-hour bang up in Chelmsford prison." He went, "Might as well get back to it." So anyway, each day he's telling me about the Lord, and he's got me really interested. And I start reading the Bible, and I start really pressing in, getting all these like Cross and Switchblade books where he was like an ex-gang member in New York, and he's got saved, and all this different stuff. I'm reading this stuff day and night, like, you know, nothing better to do. But in the end, it's really something's happened, and I've ended up calling the vicar to the cell and give my life, and I've done the prayer of salvation, and that was it really. I was still puffing and still having puff brought into prison and things for me, a little bit of Rocky and stuff smuggled in, and so anyway, I get sentenced to a place called High Point, or Knife Point they call it, and I was there, spent the rest of my sentence there. But when I got there, backgammon, table tennis, Jesus who, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, forgot about him, you know. And so all these years later, I'm flying, like I'm earning footballers' money every week, a lot of money.
How much was you taking?
If I didn't earn 10 grand in the week, I'd be upset.
What was your best week?
Oh, I don't know. I can't really remember off the top of my head. 15, 16 grand, I think. But it was always normally about the same sort of money. Like I was getting like a load of
moving
stuff from this Yardie gang. That all would go in the week, and then all my other bits and pieces, you know. And so yeah, it was. So I was flying with that, and it just went from there. But yeah, so I end up, like I said, I forgot about God. Right, and then one day, it was really mad. The whole, like, for about a week or 10 days, just things felt a bit different. There was something going on, and I didn't really know what it was. I just felt like, I don't know, like there was a presence around me or something was going on. Anyway, so I end up felt, which I didn't know what it was at the time, but there's God's got 7 spirits, and one of them's called the fear of the Lord. So it was without that, I believe, the fear of the Lord spirit that came, and I felt his presence all around me, and it was so tangible and strong. And then I heard, like, it wasn't like the movies, the booming voice and God turns out. It wasn't like that. I just felt him around me and felt fear, you know. And he said, stop what you're doing, or you're going to be going back to prison for a very long time. Yeah. Which I knew if I got caught with that pill machine on its own,
you're done. I'm
done. You know what I mean? That's not even important. That's manufacturing. That's worse. And obviously, you know, I was getting like 10 kilos of coke at a time and stuff like that. I'm in trouble, you know. And so, and I'm like, I was going over, so, like, I can't believe it. God just spoke to me. She's like, oh, all right, babe, he's getting eye on his own supply again, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's like, and I said, honestly, God spoke to me. I've got to give up selling drugs, like, you know. But I didn't. I carried on, right? I carried on selling them. And so I think the first thing to happen was I used to have this driver, and the driver would deliver my bits, and normally I'd get it done in one day. I had everyone waiting for it because there's a big drought on at the time. And so I had 2 left over, and I thought, is it worth giving me driver paying another day's money? A bit greedy, really, because I was earning all this money, and say people get caught a lot of the time. So I thought, oh, you know what, I'll just run them, you know what I mean, myself. He's waiting, he's sending his driver, I'll just go and I'll run them myself. And again, I was in Leighton, so I run these two things, and I'm waiting. The golden rule is the cash man or the man picking up has got to be there first.
Okay.
Not the person with the food, as they call it, and so he's not there. So I'm phoning my mate. I'm in Leighton. I've got a Ford Fiesta back then, little Ford Fiesta. Try and blend in a bit. I wasn't bait like a lot of them with the big motors, and I didn't do all that. I tried to, you know, but on a mobile phone, right? Ford's was bait anyway, and then a mobile phone. No one really had mobile phones back then. A lot of drug dealers and a few other people. So I'm like, "What? Where's your driver? Where's your driver?" And he's got, "Mate, you should be there in a minute." "We ain't here. Why am I here first?" You know what I mean? And your driver ain't here. So as I'm having a go at him, I've seen a car's driving really slowly past me, and I've went like that. I've looked, and it's a police car, and they're both looking in like this, right? And as they're looking in, I kind of looked at them. And I looked back and started laughing. And my mate's going, "Are you all right?" And I'm just laughing because I'm thinking, if they're seeing me with the
shouting someone, they're going to pull me.
Yeah, or if they see me like I'm looking at them and I'm looking scared, they're going to definitely tug me. You know, that's what they're looking for, a reaction. So I just styled it out and that. They drove around the one. I've put the 2 key under the car. And then I think, oh, hang on, if they come back and they could find it under the car, and you know what, let me just go down. I went down a few cars behind me and put it behind their car. They'll come back to the motor, and I'm like, I mean, Leighton's posh now, but back in the day it was really rough, right? And I thought, hang on, someone might have seen me, you know what I mean? Let me just go and get it again, put it back under my car. So bait, really, you know, just flapping, really. Yeah. And anyway, they never come back around the one-way system. I give them a bit of time, and then in the end, my mate's driver pulls up, chucks them to him, and then off he goes. And then so I managed to get away with it. So this is warnings from God that I know now.
You're a lucky man, very, very lucky man.
I've only had lots of things like this, right? Well, we say blessed, you see, because we say luck's from the devil, you see.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm blessed. So what happened was that the second time was probably the worst one out of the lot, to be quite honest with you. I used to get these houses, and I'd say to the guy knew what I'd done for a living. He didn't know the extent, but he knew what I'd done for a living. So I'd just give him a little drink. You know, 500 quid drink every time, and I wouldn't have to put ID down and that, you know. So I get this place. This one was in Forest Gate, right? I've already had the warning from God, yeah. And the 2 key thing happened, and so anyway, I hear there's someone at the door. Well, this time I was on my own in the house as well, and I was on the phone. So, oh, hang on, wait there. Someone's at the door, like, you know. I've turned the machine off and I've looked down. I've got a 3-bedroom house. For some stupid reason, I've chose the one at the top of the stairs. Yeah, so I've cranked the door open, looked down the bottom, and it looked like to me CID, like, because the guy's got a suit and that. I mean, it could have been anyone, but then I'm thinking, with this old bill, they'd kick the door off if they knew, like, you know. So, but I'm flapping about. But I said to my mate when I took this property, I said, mate, there's no back door key. And he's like, no, there definitely is one. I said, no, I've looked everywhere, there ain't. And that was that. It got left because normally I change all the locks as standard.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, standard, you know. And so the back door key had this back garden, and it had a shed in the garden that also went out into the street. Yeah?
Okay.
You know what's coming next, don't you? All right, so next thing I hear, I'm waiting there trying to build quiet here. On the bedroom door. They're in the house, knocking on my bedroom door, right? I'm like,
Bro,
I've got
arsehole must have gone.
Flapping.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
surprised I didn't take off. I was flapping that much.
Fuck.
And so I've got surgical gloves on, standard, you know what I mean? So we don't leave dabs anywhere just in case. So I've took one of them off, but I'm trying to open the door quickly before they come in because I've got the peel machine there. I've got all over the floor. I've got like a drying thing, blowing, drying the stuff, and all peels everywhere in the thousands.
How'd they get in the house?
Pardon?
How'd they get in the house?
Well, it turns out that they never left the key because they must have kept it. I don't know, but you would have thought they'd had a spare, but they had a key and they got through the shed in the back garden, which then come into the house.
Mate.
But the thing is, it looked bait in there anyway because we had like the front room, all the curtains were drawn, and there's all like newspaper on the floor. They're like, you can see no one's really living there. You know what I mean? So I've gone out. What are you doing in my house? Like, because again, they're knocking. So, you know,
They're not. If they wanted to come through, they're taking the door off.
if it's the old bill, they're coming through. But it's still, you're fluttering and don't know who it is, you know. So I've got one glove on behind my back, and I've kind of shut the door, and I'm taking the glove off behind my back. And I'm like, what are you doing in my house? I'm looking at this guy with a suit on, and then there's two Asian guys standing next to him, an older guy and a younger guy. And and this smart guy says to me, but it ain't your house, is it? It's their house. He's the landlord, and that's his son, right? I went, yeah, but I'm renting it. He went, yeah, but you ain't paid the rent, have you? I went, yeah, I have paid the rent. You know what I mean? So what I would do is, if I had a month deposit in there, yeah, even this was a bit dangerous, but what I'd do is I'd maybe go just over my deposit a couple of weeks or a week or something like that.
And then pay.
Yeah, because they're not really looking for you until they've got no money left in it, you know what I mean, really. And then I'd end up going just to save stupid again, really, trying to save a bit of money. And so he's saying, yeah, but we haven't had that month's rent. The guy took the month's rent. The guy that I was giving a drink to, he took it and he weren't working for the company no more. So I'm phoning up in front of him and he's going, no, you didn't give me the money. I said, mate, what are you on about? You know what I mean? And so I had all this going on. So anyway.
Guys, have you been thinking of move to Dubai? I've partnered up with Cranbrook Legal to make your experience so much easier. Literally, I got the main man from Cranbrook Legal right now to tell you how easy it is.
Guys, it's as simple as picking up the phone, giving us a call, and letting us get on with the business.
What, literally, one phone call?
Literally one phone call, a few documents, and we're there.
And then I just get up, fly to Dubai, and I ain't got to pay tax no more?
Yeah, you can come and see us. We'll take you out for a meal, show you Dubai, and then it's all up to you after that.
Bro, where do I sign now?
I've managed to talk them out of the house, right? So look, I promise you, I give my word, which does mean a lot to me actually as well when I say that. And I said, I promise you, I'll meet you tonight and I'll give you a month's money, you know. So he said, okay, so I managed to get him outside the house and it was kind of winter time and I'm like, right, got a big hold all, right, I've packed it up with all these packets of, you know, like thousands of whatever, you know, packed it all up, filled up the bag, and I went to run out the door, got my coat, and I thought, hang on, if they're outside and they see you with a bag and the coat, and they're going to think you're bolting, so then they're definitely coming in the house. Yeah, so I thought, let me just think about this. Let me put the bag down and I'll go out just with my coat. I go outside, they're outside the house still, right outside the gate, and I'm like, oh no, they're waiting for the old bill to come, and you know, that's what I'm thinking in my mind. So on the way out there, I said, God, I promise, in my mind I'm saying this, I promise you, if you get me out of this, I promise you I'll stop selling drugs. I promise you, yeah? So as I come out, spoke to them again, managed to talk them away from the house. They went, a member of someone amazing that was really amazing that day. I spoke to a member of my family and they come back with me to that house, really done a really big thing for me there. And we just cleaned it, had our gloves on, cleaned the out, wiped all the doors and everything down, make sure there's no fingerprints, cleared the whole lot out, took everything. And then I go, so the next conversation I have with God is, look, Lord, I know I say I'm going to give up, which I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up, right? I will give up, but I've got all my money's tied up in all that stuff. Let me just sell that and then I'll stop. Yeah, and that was my deal with God. Like, so anyway, so that's what I'd done. I sold all the stuff, stopped, which was a big thing to do because most people don't leave this game. They'll either die, go to prison, and but most people don't really stop it. You know what I mean? So anyway,
you have money saved up. Was you good at saving?
The money I had really, I had about 250 grand cash, and then I had my house as well. Which is nothing really, because I think I earned about over $500,000 in 1 year. Yeah. And I'd earned a lot of money for a lot of years, you know what I mean? It slowly increased. Like every time I'd think, right, I'm stopping selling drugs, and no, that's it, I'm not doing it no more. I really want to stop, because when my kids come along, I've got three amazing kids, and it changed my outlook on it, and I didn't want to do it no more, But every time I'd go to stop, I'd get a new customer or a new supplier, and all of a sudden my money would go up.
Well, that's your test. That's always your test.
It was a test. Yeah.
It's always to see, is he going to stop now, or is he going to get dragged in?
And I just carried on getting dragged in, you know what I mean, unfortunately, at that time. But anyway, so I've stopped selling drugs now. So I thought, right, let me do something with the money. My missus, her family was used to have shops in the Rome, and she's out of Roman Road, my missus, and like up near Bow and that.
Yeah.
And so I thought, let me try and get a shop. I always wanted to get a clothes shop. I thought, so I bought this women's clothing boutique in Buckhurst Hill, a big massive shop. I put all my money in it and done the whole lot. What I said to you, the devil gives you one hand, he takes back off you with the other. Done that. It started off really good, and we had our own clothing label, which was, we had in, 54 different accounts, but in different countries. It's called Punk 77, and back in the day, everyone who was anyone had this stuff on, you know what I mean?
Why did it not do well?
I had 1 year with that doing well, and then we had stuff going on with the shop as well. We weren't at the shop, there's people nicking out the shop. We can't blame all down to the thieves, even though they didn't help the situation, because we had like Dolce & Gabbana, Mainline, Prada Sports, Cacharel, Plain Sud, all the top Italian labels, and it didn't take a lot of gear to go missing for you to lose a lot of money. Yeah. And so basically what happened was we didn't know what we was doing. We bought far too much stock, and then was left with a load of stuff, and borrowed a load of money, and basically done the whole lot. The whole lot went, all my house money and everything,
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was my attempt to go straight and stuff. And it was just before we lost the shop, probably a year before we lost it, that we was renting a house. So I'd sold my house in Harlow, which is Church Langley it was.
Yeah.
And so I sold that, and then we was renting a house in Copthall Estate. Yeah, so it's quite famous for being haunted and stuff, and this place was, we had, my James, he a couple of times he had this entity come and sit on his bed and talk to him. He'd say, "Dad, I don't like it." You know what I mean? He's talking to me, I don't like it. I said, "What's it look like?" He said, "I'm not nicking this from Family Guy, because this was before Family Guy was about, but he said, it looks like it looks like a monkey with evil eyes, and it sits on my bed and talks to me, Dad. I don't want it to talk to me, you know what I mean?" And so we all had these different experiences. This thing got in bed with my missus, which I had to draw on the line there. Enough's enough, all right.
Fucking trying to take my missus.
Taking liberties now, mate. Right, so it gets in bed with my missus. She's sitting up, in the evening reading her book, so she weren't like asleep, and all of a sudden the sheets move, and then the bed compresses down, and she is like, when you get in the bed like at the end of the night, it's I'm in bed, thank goodness, like, and the bed compresses, and then she's like, she said if she got up and run out there, she'd never been able to come back, like, and so she just ended up staying, like, madly enough. I think I'd have done my
I'd have been gone, mate.
I'd have been gone and all, yeah. And so we had different experiences. So we got this guy in who's he's a shaman, like he burnt a few feathers, and that made the situation worse. They don't help. Satan can't cast out Satan, even though he was a nice guy, and I'm not knocking him, because a lot of the time these people think they're doing good, but it's either God or the devil. There ain't no in between. You know what I mean?
So you're the devil remover, yeah?
Yeah. We cast them out. We get rid of them.
And how do you do that?
Basically, it's just power in Jesus' name.
1 minute, so we've missed a massive chapter. How did you get involved in that?
Okay.
So for people that are wondering, Kevin is a exorcist.
People know that word, yeah.
Exorcist. You remove the devil or the demons in the house or anywhere. And how do you tell if one is there?
Okay, so basically we get people. I'm not a seer. Some
What's a
people,
seer?
some people are gifted in seeing. Like we've got prophetess
really?
Nancy, who's part of our crew. Like she sees the devil. She can see angels. She can see different plans of the devil, what he's up to, and stuff like that. She's got next level anointing, you know. So I'm not a seer. So people can come to us for different problems, addictions or mental illness and different stuff. And it ain't. I'm not saying that every mental illness is a demon, because it's not. But how we actually got into all this to start with is that time I said to you about at the house. We got the vicar round in the end, and he went round, knew what rooms it was in, and cast them out. And then we got saved that day. Then that's what we call when we got properly saved, really. You know what I mean? And it kind of went from there. But my wife, we had like 10 years bad luck, which is from the devil, right? Of nothing going wrong, no money and everything else. And my wife got, when we lost the shop, she got really bad depression, anxiety, OCD, and insomnia. Yeah, and she was under mental health epi and everything. You know what I mean? It was like horse tranquilizer tablets and all that. So one day this girl comes into our life. I used to box and stuff back in the day, only like because of what I'd done, not to compete as such. And there was a guy from my gym, and he got saved, and his girlfriend was a prophetess, and which is like I say, they talk to God and all that, right? And she came and come to church with him, and her and Zoe clicked, and she said, "Oh, come, we'll have a coffee." And back at Cafe Nero, so he got delivered. She said, "You know why I'm here, don't you?" And she said, "This don't always happen. Normally, it's just a little cough and they're gone. It's no big deal. But this sometimes is a bit more dramatic." She felt it moving about inside her, and she went, "You're going to come to get these demons. This is what it is. It's the demons, isn't it?" Because everyone in the church going, no, back then people didn't know. Like, no, it's just one of them things. You're not well. Just take the tablets. You'll be fine. You know, that type of attitude with it. So they didn't realise, you know. And so she cast out the devil. She got completely set free of all them things, what I said, insomnia, depression, OCD and anxiety. Gone, the whole lot, after 2 or 3 times of seeing this girl. So we're like, hang on. You mean to tell me, because it's changed all our lives, not just hers, mine, all the kids. Yeah. We didn't have to walk on eggshells like we did, and you know what I mean? So I'm like, hang on, we can help people like this. And so then one day we went to see these guys called Rob and Alice Creswell for a one-day workshop of changing about all different stuff, you know, all the different aspects of the miraculous and that, you know, and then one part of it was deliverance. And we the next day, so nuts. By this time, we was already baptising people in a little cramped bathroom, and they come round with all their friends and all that, and we was discipling people and that. And then one day, the day after this meeting, this girl comes round and she's got depression. We're like, "You got depression? Yeah, we can help you with this. But it ain't always a demon, you see. Sometimes it's chemicals and so we're like, oh, we can help you with that." And so we're doing this DIY deliverance, right? We start casting out the devils, and then we was with our friend as well, this Jenny, and she's going, "Hang on, didn't she say if you command the demon to come out of the mouth, that the person will cough, then we'll know it's out?" And we're, "Oh yeah." And so we're like discussing how to do this deliverance on this poor girl, but she did get some deliverance, and it helped, and it just went from there. And then different people would come to us with different things, and we thought every problem was a demon, you know, but it ain't. It don't work like that. I mean, now we do all different stuff like inner healing and different stuff, but it's not just that one thing to get people set free. And it just kind of went from there, really. And
do you enjoy it?
Love it, because you know I've got a business at the moment which I want to go full-time ministry, because I enjoy my work, believe it or not, the drainage business, but I love doing God's work, and it's really rewarding when you see someone that's been in prison their whole lives with mental illness or addictions or whatever it be, and they get set free, you know, or someone that gets healed or whatever, you know.
Because your story's pretty amazing in the fact that you went from being a lazy little gangster or criminal, whatever we want to call it, to being a big boy in the game, to now making a promise to God, and that's it. You've never looked back. Because there must have been times where situations were hard and you could have gone back to the game.
Okay, let me tell you about that. I did once go back, a little bit, kind of went back, stupidly enough, right? We had 10 years, like I said, of bad luck, yeah, where things were so bad, like, you know, my kids would go to school and they go, "Oh, like, you know, we've got a school trip. I'm really sorry, you ain't got the money, like, wouldn't be able to go on the trip." Things were so bad. Like the oven would break. The car would break down, the van would
All
break
in like
down.
1 week, and then you're like,
It was just one after the other, constant, for 10 years, and so. Yeah,
10 years. It happens to me for
10
1 week, and I
years.
feel like jumping out.
10 years, honestly. I had that for 10 years. So done a grow. I've done that in the log cabin. I've got a log cabin thing in my garden. So, and by this time I've got this council house, and we've got this log cabin we put in there to do another business we try to do. And so I started selling this puff, and then I get this job. I started doing the grow, and then I get this job, right? Back doing the drains. I'd been, chucking myself about trying to get a bit of work, and I thought, I don't really need to do this now. You know what I mean? I wish I never done it now. You know what I mean? But obviously it's too late, and I had someone else involved to put money in it, so I'm felt a bit obliged, really. Yeah. Anyway, one day I'm working, start this new job. I still got the grow on the go, and we get this job, and it's in Forest Gate. And I went, working with this guy, this French guy, and he used to do bits and pieces. So you're in the van together all day, so you tell each other some of your past. So I said to him, I used to have a house I rented down this road. You know what I mean? And I used to do some bits here. Like, he went, really? What number? I went, I can't remember, but that big house on the corner. And he went, and he looked at me, Kev, that's where we got the job. That's where we got the job. Yeah, was at this house. Now you tell me, I mean, that was like a lottery win. The chances of me going back to the house that I promised God, the very house I promised God.
That's mad.
And I said to him, Lord, I'll never sell drugs again. And here I am growing it, ready to sell it once it's grown. You know what I mean? So I broke my promise, and it was like the Lord brought me back there. The guy, it was the son that come, and it was the son of the landlord. And I'm like, please don't let him recognise me. Please don't let him. And he didn't, he didn't say nothing. But what happened was, I had where we was doing this grow, I was back puffing again. I backslid, I was back smoking weed and what have you. And so I'd come home late at night. I was working all hours with this company, and I'd come home late at night, go into the log cabin, have a joint and water the plants and whatever. You know what I mean? I had all in pots. And then I was there. I was stoned, admittedly. Then all of a sudden, I've seen something out the corner of my eye. Yeah, it looked like, not like the modern movies, like the old-fashioned movies. It was a ghost coming through the thing. That's what it looked like to me. But he came in, and he had all the rags. You know when the clothes are all rags, like the old movies. You know what I mean? It looked like that, right? And he flew, and I kind of looked at him like this, and I thought, like, am I seeing things here? But it came in like it flew through one wall, looked around like that, as if, he is growing weed, and then went out through the other wall, and I see it, right? So I thought, I'm buzzing. I've imagined it. Of course I've imagined it, you know what I mean? 100%, right? So the next morning, my daughter Nancy, she wakes up, I think she was only about 6 or 7 at the time. Dad, I had a really funny dream last night. And I went, really? What was your dream? Like, it was like a scary dream, like, nightmare and that. And she said, I see this thing. She describes exactly what I see with the torn clothing, right? Fly into her bedroom and then go out out the room. And it was like the Lord saying, I know what you're doing. He was just letting me know, and it kind of went from there. Like I say, it was a bit of a nightmare. I did get a bit of money out of it. And, one of them things I said, that's it, I'm not doing it again. I mean, so from then, we stopped going to church for about 3 years because we just backslid, and Zoe's depression was really bad, and she didn't want to leave the house, never mind go to church, And our vicar, because we started off at a Church of England church, now it's like charismatic, he moved to Southampton to another church. And so it weren't quite the same, really. And then that was it. Yeah, we ended up, thank God, going back to church. And this is where, as soon as we started back, we bumped into my friend from the gym who brought his girlfriend who delivered my wife. And it's just gone from strength to strength from there. So it ain't always the easiest journey, but it's the best journey. You know what I mean? It's the best thing I've ever done with my life. And I've changed massively, not because I'm such a good person that, look at me, I'm so great, look at me, I've changed. I couldn't have done it on my own. Yeah, I couldn't have. But God has allowed me to change who I am.
Well, listen, how many
to be a better person.
Did you have? How many close calls you could have been inside forever? Especially back then, the sentences were, if you got caught with 10,000 pills back then, you're finished, you're gone, see you later. But listen, that is the power of God. Forget, I'm not even going to jump into religions and what ones, but we all have one God. And it is real. Whether you want to believe in God or not, or you're that religion, this religion, we all follow God. And you've got to believe in it. You've got to, for it to work, you've got to believe in it.
100%.
And I think that's a massive part of all religions is belief.
100%.
People are too invested in, what religion are you? What's that? Oh, no, you're wrong, you're right. Fuck all of that shit. We all believe in one God.
Yeah.
Believe in it, do the right thing, and that's it. Just keep it moving. But
what an empty existence, though, to not believe in God and to have no hope. You know what I mean? And just think, oh, that's it. When I die, I'm in the ground. What a scary thought that's it. It's all over and you're just going in the ground for the worms. Like it's quite a scary thought for me, you know what I mean? And it's definitely, for me, worth looking into. You know what I mean? And finding out, is there a God? Because you're dead forever. You're only here for a blink of an eye. 100 years is nothing, you know what I mean?
I went to the cemetery a couple of weeks back. And the reason I done it was because I saw it on TikTok. It popped up and it said, next time you go to the cemetery, try and find the oldest gravestone there. And when you go there and you look at how many years people have been dead for, we're only here for how many years? We live 70, 80,
really,
90, fuck
yeah.
it, let's say 100.
If we're blessed.
Let's just say 100. Yeah, we ain't living past that. I could tell you that for free. When you go to the cemetery, and for the viewers out there, go and do it next time you go. I hope you haven't got a reason to go to the cemetery, but when you go, find the oldest gravestone there. There's going to be gravestones there that are hundreds of years old. And you're going to actually sit there and think, wow, I'm 25, 26, 20, 30, 35. That's been there for 300 years or however many years. Like, it's a serious thing. And we're sitting here trying to be all fuck around in this life. And what about the next life? What happens then?
Forever. Yeah. You know, so that's I think if I could leave one thought with people that they'd really look into finding out the truth, because once you're dead, it's too late.
Yeah, no,
it's too late.
True,
you know
true.
what I mean? But yeah, so that's sort of my story really, and I thank God every day that I am saved, and yeah, He's just transformed my whole world and made me a better person, made me a better dad, a better husband, a better granddad now. You know, got grandchildren and stuff now as well, and yeah, it's transformed my whole world. But what I'm saying to you is, it ain't always like, oh, you know, just get saved and like everything could be all right. You'll have no financial worries or nothing like that. Everything will be good. Sometimes you get the cares of the world and troubles that come along, but to know you at least, you know, you got that certainty that you're going to heaven, you're saved, is for me the best.
So I say this in most of my podcasts whenever I talk to someone religious, but there's a quote I put up on my Instagram.
Okay.
And it says, if you believe in God, then why are you worried?
True.
And whenever I get worried, people know, because I put that quote up, because it gives me the reassurance. Wait, I do believe in God. What he's given me all of this. I haven't done this. Like people that say like, oh, I'm so proud. I'm not proud of myself. I didn't do this alone. I put the hard work in, but it come from him.
God.
We all got to listen. That's what it is all about. And people always say, oh, you're stressing today, ain't you? I'm like, how do you know? You put that quote up in.
Oh, wow.
It's not I'm stressing. It's sometimes you need the reassurance.
Yeah.
And if you don't tell yourself, you know what? I believe in God. He's there. Sweet. I'm happy. Get on with your day. Because there's tests. We get tested. Life isn't believe in God, you're going to be rich and famous. It's not. If you believe in God, it just gives you the, what's the word I'm looking for? The belief, just to know there's something there looking out for you. That's how I look at my life.
Yeah.
I only become religious 2 years ago now.
Wow.
But I enjoy it. Any last thing you want to give our viewers?
Well, I'd like to, if it's okay, just say a prayer.
Yeah, of course.
Like I say, there's I'd really like to pray if anyone's struggling with anything, for them to be healed, but also maybe to just add a little bit to, if they want to give their life and want to try it, because the first thing is inviting Jesus into your heart. That's the first thing, and that's what I did in prison. You know what I mean? It wasn't 2 years later that he actually came for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the first thing is to invite him in. And then after that, you know, it is to seek him, but maybe he might come and seek you. Yeah. So all right. So yeah. So let me just pray. Right. Yeah. So Father God, I love you. I praise you and I honour you. You're our King of glory, our mighty Lord, our majestic King, and I praise and honour you, Lord. And I just pray that you make yourself real to every person that's watching this podcast right now, Lord. Make yourself real, Lord. The most valuable gift in the world, more expensive than anything in the world, is salvation. Yeah, it's the best gift in the world. So I just pray that you give the people watching today that precious gift of salvation. So all you got to do is just say after me, yeah? Father God, I repent of my sins. Please forgive me, and I forgive myself. Very important, right? Lord Jesus, I recognise that you died on that cross at Calvary for my sins. You rose again on the third day, and you're coming back again for me. Fill me up with your Holy Spirit. Transform me and change me, Lord. In Jesus' name. Amen. Yeah, so that's simple as that, right? But I just want to pray as well. If you've got any injuries or anything that's happened to you, you know, that you're in pain with right now, or where you need healing, whatever it be, right? If you just place your hand on that area right now, and I just really believe you're going to get healed right now. So Father God, I just release the fire right now, Lord, to anybody watching under the sound of my voice, Lord, I release the fire of God right now into that area. Lord, I release the blood of the Lamb and the finished work of the cross. I declare it over that injury. And I command all pain and affliction, go now in Jesus' mighty name. Let every bit of pain and the cause of that pain go now. All symptoms go now in Jesus' name, Lord. But I release the blood of the Lamb to that area, and I declare healing. If their backs are gone, Lord, I pray that their muscles around their discs will strengthen right now, Lord. Will strengthen right now, and let them discs pop back into place, Lord. And I declare total healing right now in Jesus' mighty name. And that's it. So be blessed.
Thank you very much. Listen, if that's worked for people, it's worked for people. I don't know if it's worked. The viewers, if it worked, they'll know straight away, right?
It will work, 100%. 100%.
The comments will talk.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, listen, Kevin, pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, if you like what he does and you're interested in what he does, where can they reach out to you?
I'm part of a ministry called Set the Captives Free, and we're on Eventbrite, and we do freedom meetings. The next one, unfortunately, ain't till March because we've got other stuff we're doing at the moment. But you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. And
if you just send me over your links, all the links will be in the description.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Guys, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next episode.